So as it stands now, Mazen Kanu's judgment, which is meant to be on the 20th of November, may actually not hold again, because if the information reaching me now is anything to go by, it looks as if Nnamdi Kanu has just, filed a motion on appeal. He has filed a motion, to stop that judgment for now. He filed that motion in the appeal court earlier today, and today is, of course, the 12th day of November, and this is coming under the heels of, it's 8 days to go, and Nnamdi Kanu is also on top of his toes, trying to exploit any loopholes. And right here with me is the the motion on notice filed to the appeal court. So it's asking the appeal court for the following. So listen, let me read it out for you. Motion on notice, brought pursuant to section 36 subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and under the inherent jurisdiction of the Honorable Court. Let me skip to the number 1. It says what it's asking for is 1, an order, staying the proceedings of the trial court in case number FHC ABJ CR /383 2015, which is his case. That's his case file. The Federal Government of Nigeria versus Nnamdi Kanu, currently pending before Justice Omotosho. The hearing and examination of the appeal pending against his decisions in the case, particularly on 1, its decision on the no case submission, its refusal to determine its jurisdiction and the validity of the count under which the appellant is being tried, and its foreclosure of the appellant's rights to defend the case by, fielding witnesses, and also saying any order as the Honorable Court may deem fit to make in the circumstances of the application. And Nnamdi Kanu has been filing lots of prayers and motions. And if you watch my yesterday video, you will see where I talked about Mazen Nnamdi Kanu being denied of everything he has applied for in the courts so far. And I think he has heard me from the dungeon and gone ahead to actually complain about it. Yeah, and I thank God for that. It means that the spirit is one. I complained about that because Omotosho has denied him all the 8 prayers he has ever made in court. So he's asking the appeal court, to look into those things that Omotosho refused to look into. And here it says grounds for the application. Now, 1, in spite of the jurisdictional questions raised before the trial court refused to rule on them, which is true. Also, the trial court refused to evaluate the evidence of the prosecution witnesses vis-a-vis the cross-examination questions to determine whether the evidence was discredited under cross-examination. And number 3, it says, though the appellant filed lists of witnesses to be called in defense of the case and indicated that the appellant's defense would come up and the appellant fields witnesses immediately, the court determines to jurisdiction and the validity of the counts. The trial court refused and held that the decision would only be given on the objections during judgments. I raised about it also, saying that Nnamdi Kanu wrote witnesses to be called, which is compelling witnesses that are the elites of society who are supposed to come and give testimony. But Omotosho never invited them, which is part of what I said yesterday, and I can see everything is being trying to be erected to be by going to the appeal court to complain also why those people were not actually brought. The trial court, while refusing to rule on the objection, foreclosed the appellant's right to defend the heinous allegations leveled against the appellant. The trial court has adjourned the matter for judgment on the 20th of November 2015. If the application is not granted, the appellant may be unlawfully convicted, without being afforded the opportunity of knowing the validity of the counts, jurisdiction of the trial court, and offering defense on the merits. Good. Further proceedings on the matter will stultify the appellant's right of appeal and any appellate decision fait accompli. The trial court and the appellant would not be prejudiced if the application is granted, the case having prolonged since the year 2015 only to commence before the instant court sometimes in this year 2025. And I said that many times that Justice Bintanyako has been handling this case for the past 10 years and never rushed into judgment. In fact, she was very slow in giving any decision at all in the court. But it seems as if Omotosho is in a haste for to give judgment for a case he doesn't even know. I can beat my chest and say Omotosho does not know anything about Nnamdi Kanu's case. He doesn't actually know about this case. He's just rushing it, based on what hearsays. Let me use that word. It is in the interest of justice to grant the application and allow the matter, taken on the merits. Signed by Maz Nnamdi Kanu, and I think he submitted in person. And there was also an affidavit in support of the motion for the stay of delivery of judgment pending the trial. That I, Maz Nnamdi Kanu, male Nigerian citizen, presently detained in the custody of the DSS, Abuja, do hereby make an oath and state as follows: that I am the appellant, this and this. Just an affidavit supporting, that written motion on notice, that actually he is the one that wrote it and this is what he wants, and it's just like stamping it. That's how the court works. This is what I have to say, and this is maybe not the spot. I've always said it. This is a step in the right direction. Justice is justice, and there is no crime in fighting for your own justice. Depends on how one sees right and wrong. Definitely, Nnamdi Kanu is not afraid of judgment. He's not afraid to face the 20th of November. All he's trying to do is simple. He's trying to test the waters of the porosity of Omotosho's court, knowing very well that Omotosho handled this case for a very short time. And it looks very clearly that Omotosho is not abreast with what is going on in the court. This case was handed over to him, and he just took over the case, and he wants to rush into everything. In fact, if I even calculate the amount of time he has been in this case, from July, maybe from May to now, and the amount of time spent on this case, I don't think it's up to 2 months. 2 months. It was so rushed, and this whole space of adjournment made the case look like it was wide, and that was very smart of Omotosho, cunningly smart, to make it look as if, okay, it's 6 months I handled this case, but actually it's not 6 months he handled the case. This case is more of 2 months. 2 months. Just remove all the adjournments, because the adjournments took like 4 months and 5 months adjournments. Actually 5 months so far in this case, and minus it from May, you will see that there is not much time spent in the court, and that's why you see most of the things he's interpreting are very wrong. So he's not the person that will give a judgment or say a word in court about this case and you will accept it as a resource person. He doesn't have enough intelligence in this case. He doesn't know about the case. So look, if we check all the requests Nnamdi Kanu has been asking him to do, like the one I did in my last video, I listed 8 requests about the no case file submission, the no case submission, the jurisdiction issue, the repealed law issue, and this, and striking out the case, and even the medical issue that Nnamdi Kanu had. You will see that Omotosho does not understand the political interpretation of the case, the emotions attached to the case, and other things. He's just trying to rush up and push the files off his table because he understands that there are people who are interested in seeing Nnamdi Kanu go to jail. That's what I know Omotosho understands, and he doesn't feel bad doing their bidding. That's very, very funny, because many people are gossiping here and there that he actually works for Governor Wike, and Governor Wike, Wike very well had issues the other day with a soldier in Abuja. Personally, I don't like talking about him because these people are just people that, they are not in my, they are not in my diary, because I don't see them as human beings. That's the truth. I don't see Nigerian politicians as human beings. So I don't talk about them like that. The only reason I talk about Omotosho is because he's directly involved with Nnamdi Kanu's case. My job is simple, bring attention to the world on the plight of my people, fight for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and fight for Biafra. It's not difficult. I just stick to my job and I do my job. That's all I do. So I believe that Nnamdi Kanu is right to fight for his rights every point in time because, well, personally, if you ask me, I'll say, we know how all these motions go. End of the day, we know they will throw it away. We know they won't do anything about it because they are all working together. But we'll keep on just doing it for the history, for filing, So we have to do it because of posterity, so that tomorrow people don't say, but you did not do this, but you did not do that. So Nnamdi Kanu is right, by filing all this motions and prayers. I know many of them he has been filing has yielded no fruits for now, because we know that it's a gang up. There is a gang up against the Igbos and against Nnamdi Kanu. Definitely, we all know that. But what we keep doing is that we just keep following the due process blindly. And when it gets to any place we need to jump, we'll jump. Like Nnamdi Kanu, following his lawyers until he got to the point he felt, he can do this job better. He doesn't need them anymore. Or the lawyers were not actually interpreting his mind very well, so he had to take over the job and do it by himself. That's exactly how it's supposed to be, because he's the one that is in that situation and he knows how best to handle it himself. Of course, he's a learned man and he has the right also to defend himself, so I don't think there's anything there. But definitely we keep on believing. We know very well that the Supreme Court, the High Court, the Appeal Court itself, it still belongs to the federal government. And I've always queried the federal government being a player and a coach at the same time. You are trying Nnamdi Kanu in a court and you are also keeping him in the dungeon all by yourself. You are the federal government, you are the lawyer, you are the judge, and you are also the prison itself. All these things don't make any sense in a sane society. But we are not in a sane society. We are in Nigeria, where people cannot even interpret what the meaning of Nigeria is. Because if you successfully explain Nigeria to somebody and he understands it, you know very well that it's not Nigeria that you explain to the person. You understand? So that's it. Well, 20th is on the way. Nnamdi Kanu's, life, will I call it, life, has already been ruined by this whole episode. So he's not afraid of anything because his life is devoted to fighting for me and you. That is why if you speak of Nnamdi Kanu, please respect his voice, respect him. The reason why I dedicate my time for Nnamdi Kanu is because this man has done more for me than anybody in my life. This man is actually in this dungeon because of me. That's how I see it. Me. I don't know about you, but for me, Nnamdi Kanu is there for me. Because if Nnamdi Kanu gets Biafra, or at least Nnamdi Kanu gets something huge from Igbo, I will benefit from it. I will be a beneficiary of it. So why won't I dedicate my own platform for him? I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. He owns me right now. We are connected. We are connected, and I feel that connection every time. I on my camera, every time I stand in this place, talking. I feel that connection between me and Nnamdi Kanu is so strong. And as long as I'm alive, and as long as it's in that cell, I don't think I'm going to ever stop believing, never stop preaching, and never stop calling for his release, and of course, his freedom. It's not easy. If it's easy, people would have done it. Many people would have done it by now that he's been in the cell. It's not easy. People sometimes speak about Nnamdi Kanu. People will tell you, let him go and face trial. Let him go and face trial. Even Igbos, you see Igbos speaking like that. Our people are so defeated mentally. They don't even remember. They don't even understand their lives anymore. The Igbos have been defeated so much mentally, most importantly. That is the problem. I don't have a problem when you're defeated. I don't have a problem when you lost the war. Definitely we lost the war. But when you're defeated mentally, you're finished. As a human being, you have to take hold of your mindset. Every day I watch Nnamdi Kanu in that cell. When it comes to court, the display he gives, it shows a man in the right mindset. This man is on lock. His mind is unlocked. They've taken away his body, yes, but they've not taken away his mind. His mindset is unlocked. Nothing can do him. And that makes me proud, because there's nothing, you cannot imprison the mind. You can imprison only the body. But actually, if you allow people, they can imprison your mind. That's the truth. You can imprison your mind if you allow people to brainwash you or tell you what you are not. So you must guard your mindset. You must guard your mentality from lies, from propaganda, from fake news, and from disbelief. From disbelief. Because when you start disbelieving yourself as a person, from that moment you've lost yourself. And Kanu is the hallmark of a true leader. And let's hope that the appeal court can at least look into this matter and do Nnamdi Kanu's bidding. At least for the first time. Like, share, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, select the bell that says all notifications to get notified whenever we release a video. So I'll see you next video. Peace.